A heavy concentration of sedatives were discovered in Renju's body. Renju was practically in a coma, but he wouldn't have struggled.
So, Iris could have strangled him.
Wait a minute. Even if I was somehow able to kill him, the rest of it is impossible.
The rest of it?
Like hanging up his body?
How do you know that?
What do you mean? It's all over the news.
That's true. Renju weighed about 160 pounds. Even if she used her entire body weight, I don't think she could have hauled him up.
Right. It would be hard for her to do it with her strength alone. But with a little ingenuity, it could be done.
Ingenuity?
I don't think so, Date. This is irrelevant.
It went like this. First, Renju was laid out on the counter. Next, the wire was thrown over the beam and connected to the hook in his jaw. Then all you need to do is put the 3 beer kegs on the counter.
You think a teenage girl could have done that?
I'm sure it was hard. The kegs weighed 55 pounds each, but that's not impossible.
I guess it isn't impossible.
After that, you get on top of the counter, hook the other end of the wires to the kegs, and then, what do you think happens if you kick the kegs off the counter?
The 3 kegs weighed 165 pounds altogether. Renju weighs 5 pounds less. I guess that would make it possible. But there is one more thing.
What?
Considering the state of the crime scene, it's clear Renju was killed elsewhere and brought to where we found. If Iris is the culprit, how did she move the body?
Hey!
I know. You're going to say you couldn't have moved a 160-pound body.
Unfortunately for her, she could have.
How?
You have to prove that Iris, that is your current. This will not help you.
Do you know what this is? It's Renju's favorite watch. This was discovered inside an empty oil drum at Sunfish Pocket.
Hey, Date, I know you're on a roll right now, but could you please report things like that according to protocol?
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that it wouldn't be so hard to move a body if it were in a cylinder. You would just have to roll it.
So you're saying Renju's body was moved inside the drum, which is how the watch came off. But the suspect didn't notice it.
I'm not saying anything for sure, just pointing out that it's possible.
I didn't do it! You don't even have any witnesses! If I were rolling an oil drum in the middle of the street, people would have noticed!
You could have put it in a car and driven.
I don't have a license!
Doesn't mean you can't drive. Even an AI can drive nowadays.
Are you mocking me?
Don't make sudden outbursts like that.
You insulted.
Just be quiet.
Who are you talking to?
Anyway, Iris, you weigh about...
Where is this coming from?
If only you weighed more. Or...
That is none of your business.
No, I mean that your weight is relevant to the case. If the oil drum was used to transport the corpse, then the possibility of the suspect being around 105 pounds is extremely likely.
Why do you say that?
You are trying to prove that your thinking is correct.
Iris, on which floor is Sunfish Pocket located?
On the second floor?
That's right. So, I checked the elevator records. Before the corpse was discovered, the elevator only stopped at the second floor once, at 8:55 p.m. And we discovered that the total cargo weight on the elevator was about 310 pounds. Renju weighed 160. The oil drum weighs 44. Together, that's about 205. Subtracting that from 310.
This doesn't look good.
Why are you...
Now, this obviously doesn't prove you're the murderer. A lot of people weigh 105 pounds. Or someone could have put 105 extra pounds in the elevator, sent it up, and taken the stairs to throw us off the trail. However...
Date, stop. Iris is acting strange. Don't turn around.
Why not?
Just stay put. Keep your eyes on the wall. There are several cameras in this room. 2 surveillance cameras installed at the corners of the ceiling, and one I hacked each to gain access to their recordings. Look at this.
She's fidgeting around. Is she doing something under the desk?
That's what it looks like. But we need to confirm something before we can. We need to know that she's in fact doing something under the desk.
Without turning around?
Yes.
How would I do that? Ah, shit! Iris, what are you thinking? What is that thing? Hey! Answer me, Iris!
She's definitely hiding something, Date. Sync with her.
Iris is experiencing REM sleep. Medication is working perfectly.
How about it, Date? Think you can do it?
Not a problem. Get it started.
The time limit is 6 minutes. So before time is up,
I know.
then let's begin.
What is this place?
It looks depressing. How is this related to Iris?
Unknown, but there must be a connection.
Iris, what are you hiding?
Somnium scan! Activate!
A se-
Stop!
What is this video?
It is difficult to believe, but these are the faces of the victims of the original Cyclops killer.
What? What is going on here? Iris, what are you hiding?
We should continue. There are more objects to inspect now. A torso?
If it has a head,
What would you... No use.
their guard is up. Yep.
What do you mean?
The traditional approach would be to start with a massage.
If you are not going to help, should I...
You should try that on them. They might...
Date, a torso with... Nothing
You don't have the muscle mass.
What would be the point of that?
That's what I just said.
I cannot wait. A full body...
3 minutes, Date.
Are you sure I can break the...
No, I don't think you have the strength to break it.
Then why did you ask me to, pervert?
Just punch it, and I'm not a pervert. You see? It won't break.
What was the point of that? A torso...
Even my consciousness is being affected.
While I was unconscious, the room changed.
I'm tired of this.
A drug
You
bottle...
have less than 2 minutes, Date. Hurry.
A syrupy smell.
Syrup? You think they were baking?
If it isn't syrup, it's nitroglycerin.
Why is that here?
Nitroglycerin reacts violently. It needs to be mixed to lower
Mixed with what?
acetone.
Acetone.
It is best that we...
Right.
An operate...
You have 1 minute left.
Who do you intend I...
Can you just pretend?
Pretend? Nothing's happening.
Damn.
Perhaps you should have been... Date, we're out of time.
Damn. What the...
A torso with a head.
If it has a head,
What would you... A drug.
4 minutes.
Do not pressure me
Pressure you?
into drinking alcohol.
Is it alcohol?
Well,
This is for an investigation. I'm ordering you to drink it.
you are exploiting your position of power. I will set up a labor union.
An AI labor union? Sounds dystopian.
I won't drink it.
Fine.
An operator.
How does it feel?
Awful. Am I going to be killed? Modified? I'm restless. I can't take the suspense.
Do you think they'll modify you into a grasshopper or a spider?
That's not what I'm talking about. A drug bottle that
Data,
holds
you've got
some
less than
kind
30 seconds.
a full... A torso.
A torso?
Is there any meaning to...
I can't say.
Date, we're out of time.
Damn! What the hell is...
Four minutes.
A double... It doesn't open. A double...
Hiya! Hiya!
Stop that! A doubled... An operator... Am I... A drug...
Mixed...
You have 1 minute left. Time's up!
A full-body mirror... Can you talk?
Can you talk?
What? Don't copy me.
What? Don't copy me.
Date, we're...
Damn! What the...
A full... Can you talk?
Can you talk?
A torso...
If it has a head...
What would you...
Three minutes, Date.
An...
You have less than 2 minutes, Date. Hurry.
A common... A common...
You have 1 minute left.
If it has a
What would you... An old...
4 minutes. Three minutes, Date.
Only a shelf. That shelf sticking out. It seems odd. What? What happened?
A metal ball must have...
Why would anyone put that there? An iron... Where should I throw it?
Throw it that way.
Understood. It is unexpectedly light. All right.
I feel like that ball hit me in the head.
You have less than 2 minutes, Date. Hurry.
An old fat... Please. Help me. Help me. This was the third victim of the original Cyclops kill.
Why does Iris know?
There is a possibility that she saw it online or on
She even reproduced the circumstances of the killing.
Date, we have no direct...
Right.
You have 1 minute left.
It is a thick book. It has not been well preserved. Most of the ink has faded.
Can you tell what kind of book it is?
It is probably a book on... Insects! It's a book on insects!
Don't get excited. I know how you love bugs. Does this book belong to Iris?
I didn't know she liked insects, and to read the book so often that it...
Well, we can't prove it's...
True. We cannot conclude anything. Date,
Damn! What the hell?
You have less than 2 minutes, Date. Hurry.
an old Help me! Help me! A revolver.
Is it real?
It appears that. Weekly.
Don't say it!
Just a lock.
Iba?
It's all right. More important. That is.
What happened in that Somnium?
We saw it too.
The 4 murdered women are without a doubt the victims of the original Cyclops serial.
That means...
The murders that occurred 6 years ago are these memory fragments that coalesced in this Somnium.
No. That means the person...
You can't dream of something you know nothing about.
That means Iris must know about the killings.
6 years ago, Iris was 12.
Did she witness the crime at age 12? And not just one, but all 4? The Cyclops killer appeared 6 years ago. I lost my memory 6 years ago. There has to be some kind of connection.
There isn't.
Really?
Really. Didn't I tell you? The entire case is a state secret. No matter how many times you ask, I won't.
Help me understand this. What I saw during the sink earlier, that was the scene of the original Cyclops.
Yeah,
So the person doing the killing was the original Cyclops killer.
right.
Did you see him? He was...
I saw your face. The original Cyclops killer was...
It can't be.
Date, you cannot say that for certain. You have no memories past.
So perhaps, Mr. Date, you are the killer. You're missing your left eye, so you steal them from others.
I'm kidding. You can't be the Cyclops killer.
Really?
Of course not. Do you think I would hire a serial killer? You interrogated Iris before the sink. What you saw in the Somnium was just a manifestation of the fear you put in her.
I don't believe between
Why is
the culprit is not the same. I am absolutely certain the original Cyclops killer could not have committed these crimes.
How can you be so sure?
Because I can. Don't worry about it. Remember what the boss said this morning. The original Cyclops killer has yet to be brought to justice. After the investigation, that was the last week. Of course, they paid lip service to the but in reality, it was dropped completely. The sinker does not always experience the somnium they expect. Dreams are pieced together from memories. When using the sink, true, oftentimes that and what, but we cannot. It's like I told you before. Dreams are pieced together from memories. This can be expressed as an equation. Dream D equals memory A plus memory B plus memory C. This, of course, means that Dream D is a fictional event. However, the same cannot necessarily be said about memory A, B, and C. Those happened in reality. In other words, fiction is built from combinations of reality.
So what I saw in
Yes, I believe Iris actually witnessed those events.
in the Somnium earlier, I saw someone else who might be the criminal. Who was he?
I wouldn't know.
Pewter, you said that memories happened in reality, right? But what about false memories? How do we know if the memory really happened?
Even false memories are built from the pieces of real ones. If you disassemble those pieces, you will find real events.
What about things you see in movies or television?
The events might be fictional, but our imaginations are limited to what. Dante,
Got it. Hey, Iris. About that dream earlier.
Dream?
There is no point in asking. The subject of a sink does not. They will not remember it.
Then what about the Cyclops killer?
Cyclops kill? I remember hearing it on the news, but I was just a little girl. I don't remember any.
You don't?
No,
What about the scene of the murder?
I don't know. I've never been there.
But
Dreams are pieced together.
You can't dream of something you... Date, could you take Iris home?
huh?
We do not have enough evidence. Even in Somnium, we could. The law demands that we.
You cannot decline, Dot.
Date, could we make
Sure.
marble? It's a bar.
You?
Yeah, Mr. Okiura took me before.
Why do you want to go there?
There's something I want to talk about.
We can't talk here?
It might take.
What do you think?
There's no reason to refuse. Besides, there's a lot of... Alright, sure.
Tessa!
Oh, Ota.
Oh, she left a little while. She said something about going to help an acquaintance. She told me to watch the place until she got.
How well do you know Mama?
Not at all. It's my first time. No, this is my new one. You're thinking of the one I dropped in that puddle. I was nihiling with Tessa earlier. She said she was going to Marbles, so I got here just before you did. Look, I was really worried about. She was about to be charged with a serious crime.
This actually works out nicely. I want to ask you something, It's about a Nile message you sent Iris. You said you wouldn't tell anyone about that thing. That you'd stay quiet no matter... What were you talking about?
Well,
I'll tell her about the two-witter thing.
Geez, fine. Just don't tell anyone else, okay? But before I tell you, who's
What?
at the door?
Where am I?
It looks like you're awake now. Ota, the boy.
I'd say he's too old to be called a boy, but...
He was already gone when I came back. All I saw was you.
Damn it, Ota.
It appears that he took off with...
What were you doing during all...
My power was shut down due to the stun gun. I have rebooted in safe mode and...
I tried. You wouldn't budge. I thought you were passed out drunk, so I left you like...
But I didn't have a glass in front of me, right?
So you weren't drunk?
Didn't have a single drop.
Oh, I thought you were drinking straight out of the bottle. Just like the old days. It'll be 3 o'clock soon. In the morning, of course.
Date, the boss is calling.
Oh, how am I gonna...
Date, listen. Stay calm. Just now, the killer... Well, just watch the video. I sent the address to
Iris! No, that's...
The criminal is streaming this live.
Iba, the sword...
Identified. The Okiura fishery...
Okiura?
Date, focus. We need to get to the side.
What's our ETA?
Our destination is far... 20 minutes at the...
Please, please let me make it... No, it can't be. No. Stop!
There you are. Finally. I was looking all over for you. It's rare to see you down like this, but it's understandable. You blame yourself for this, don't you? Beating yourself up about taking Iris to Marble, and about letting Ota get the upper hand on you, am I right? Shall I tell you what Investigation H— Ota Matsushita is a criminal stalker who committed murder-suicide. Ota had a selfish love for Iris. He was under the delusion that Iris loved him too. But Iris refused Ota. So Ota decided that he and Iris should be together in the afterlife, killed her, then killed himself.
That's ridiculous. Ota would never kill Iris. And how do you explain the other two murders? Iris's left eye was hollowed out. Just like Renju and Shoko. Those three murders were definitely executed by the new Cyclops killer. There's no way that's Ota. Too many pieces don't fit. Too many contradictions. Like
Such as?
The culprit was wearing a polar bear costume, probably to hide their identity. But if murder-suicide was the plan, the costume served no purpose.
Maybe he was thinking like this. The reason Iris and I can't be together is because her agency prohibits it. Making the president, Renju, the ultimate bad guy.
Mizuki is Ota's close friend. Do you really think Ota would kill his friend's father?
Shoko was married to Renju. Maybe he was trying to get at Renju by killing her.
That's a stretch. They've been divorced for years. Ota knows all about it. He wouldn't use Shoko to get to Renju.
Stay away from Tessa!
Ota showed himself on the stream. If he was gonna kill Iris and then himself, why would he do that? The only reason you would show yourself like that is to prove that you weren't the culprit. Ota and the polar bear on the screen at the same time would prove that they're not. That behavior would be totally unnecessary if he was gonna commit suicide.
Well, maybe he wasn't planning on dying at first. After he killed Iris, he realized that he couldn't live with himself.
So he lies down on the workbench and turns on the ice-cutting machine himself? I don't buy it.
There are some additional discrepancies. I analyzed the investigation. Judging by his wound, Ota was stabbed in the side by a kitchen knife, or—
Are you sure?
I am.
Oh, I know that.
Well?
Ota could have stabbed himself. Maybe he thought it would be a fatal wound, but when it didn't work, he went for the ice-cutting machine.
Then, shouldn't we have recovered the kitchen knife from the scene?
Maybe he threw it in the ocean.
Boss, come on. Ota goes out to the water, stabs himself in the gut, throws the knife over the side, then walks back to the warehouse?
Well, I wasn't being serious. I didn't think Ota was the culprit from the beginning. I was just playing devil's advocate for HQ.
Really?
Yes, really.
Anyway, Ota didn't kill anyone, and here's what I think happened.
Stay away from Tessa!
Ota knew Iris was kidnapped, so he rushed onto the scene. That's when he saw the culprit wearing the polar bear costume. He tried to fight him off, but ended up being stabbed in the side. He was weakened and losing blood at the culprit's mercy. The culprit forced him into the costume, then under the ice-cutting machine. And then...
Then, who is the culprit?
I wish I knew.
We're up to 4 victims, but Ota was a special circumstance. He wasn't specifically targeted by the culprit.
Right. And he was the only one to not have his eye pulled out.
So let's focus on the 3 other victims. Shoko, Renju, and Iris. What connects these 3?
Connections.
If you find a connection between the victims,
You think the new Cyclops killer is related to them somehow?
maybe not.
Mizuki has the strongest connections with all 3 victims. Shoko and Renju were her parents. She was good friends with Ota, but that's why I could never believe Mizuki would kill. Thinking of her as a suspect is... Hitomi and Renju are definitely... They were high school classmates, and she did say that she met... But I can't imagine she would, no matter what the circumstance... Renju and Shoko were connected to the Kumakura, but there's no connection. Mayumi had motive for killing Iris and Renju. Mayumi hated Iris, and she didn't think well of Lemnis Gate either. And since Renju is the president... Anyway, the weak point is and above all else, Renju, Shoko... There is a connection between Renju and Shoko through the Kuma... But again, I can't see... I know Renju and Shoko, and I'm connected to Iris, but I have an alibi. Aside from Shoko, there's no way I could have killed any of them. No. Now that I think about it, Shoko too. I don't remember killing her. My memories from 6 years ago are missing. And if I start doubting myself now...
Date, I can say without a doubt that there is 0 possibility you are the new Cyclops killer. I have been working with you for years. I know better than anyone that you are innocent.
I thought it over, boss. Of the people I know, I can't peg any of them as the murderer.
And no leads to pursue?
No.
Then there's only one thing you can do. Continue your investigation. Do whatever it takes to get the culprit, to get justice for the victims.
You're right. Got it.
This forklift it does not appear it has not been moved. Iris's estimated time of death and cause of death. The video was not a recording.
Which means Iris's time of death is 3:20 a.m.
No.
I checked this place point by point.
There are only...
Is this warehouse not...
Iris also had her left eye removed.
Yeah.
And like Renju and Shoko...
Right here. Iris and Ota were...
I am sure you are already aware...
Just before I arrived.
And the cause of death.
Right. Ota had a stab wound from a kitchen knife in his side.
Correct.
What was the exact cause of death? Was it the knife wound, or...?
I cannot determine. I can conclude that the knife wound, even if Ota was still alive on the workbench, if he weren't already extremely weak, we would... A video camera. This is what the criminal used to... All of these items have been bought... I have logged into the Okiura Fishery Co. LT. However, I found the password written directly on the router. I have done some research. As the name suggests, Renju's father created the company.
Another connection.
No, actually. Currently, Okiura Fishery has nothing to do with The company has been managed by office representatives for the past 17 years after Renju's father died. Renju holds no shares and is not involved in the management. In short, Renju did not inherit the company from his father, and
But it can't be a coincidence.
it certainly is
But why did the culprit put the costume on Ota?
unknown. Date, we should get moving. Officers from the local jurisdiction we will not find anything of.
Yeah, you're right.
You can ask CSI to inform you of.
All right.
Date.
Huh?
About the original Cyclops.
Why this all?
Because I want you to solve this case, man. I want you to find who did this and bring them to justice. So, if I can help you, even a little.
Why didn't you say anything at Abyss?
The boss was there. I couldn't speak, so I decided to meet you here.
All right, let's hear it.
Earlier, I told you that I was completely certain the original Cyclops killer couldn't have committed these crimes. I am absolutely certain the original Cyclops killer could not have committed... Let me explain why. I'll start by telling you the identity of the... Although, it's more accurate to say, killer.
More than one?
In the first series of killings, the culprit had an accomplice. One of them was born a murderous psychopath. The other is Rohan Kumakura, the previous chairman of the Kumakuras. They each had a role to play. The murderer committed the homicide, and Rohan removed the eyeball. That, I don't know.
The details of the original, even the official I am unable to draw any.
You really have no idea?
If I did, I would tell you. He was born with a brain dysfunction. Due to damage to the posterior pituitary gland, he was unable to properly secrete oxytocin.
Oxytocin is a peptide hormone linked to feelings of love, affection, and trust. It is colloquially referred to. It causes a tranquilizing effect which improves mood and relieves stress. It is normally secreted when the body makes contact with an object of affection, such as an embrace or caress.
I'm sure you know what this implies, but he was unable to feel love in the way that we do. However, he was able to experience a substitute. His brain was wired in such a way that allowed him to feel satisfaction through other means. Due to the unique idiosyncrasies of his brain, by performing a certain action.
What was it?
Murder.
Dopamine is a hormone linked to the reward system of the brain. The pleasant feeling attained through accomplishment is dopamine. Endorphins are a kind of brain narcotic. They dull pain and create a feeling of happiness.
He got pleasure from killing people?
It's slightly more complicated. Killing people was the only way he could... He was 12 when he took his first life. that enlightened him to the pleasure of... 18 years ago, Rohan took a woman's eye. She was already dead. He put his finger into her eye socket and gouged it out. The reason why was simple. He was fascinated by women's eyes. Their beauty stimulated his greed and his desire. He needed to have them. Driven by this instinctive impulse, he took the woman's eye. From then on, he acquired a grotesque obsession with the eyes of dead women. He was very particular about his need that the eye belonged to a deceased woman. But even being the head of a Yakuza gang, there weren't too many opportunities for him to indulge. His deepest, darkest desire went unfulfilled for years. However, he soon met his ideal partner, the aforementioned psychopath. The Cyclops killer would commit the murder, and Rohan would take the eye. Thus, a mutually beneficial relationship was established. This was the origin of the Cyclops serial killings. At about the same time, you were...
The original Cyclops killer had an accomplice,
There were two.
and one of them was the former chairman of the Kumakura.
Rohan committed suicide by jumping.
That means... Pewter, tell me this. One of the original killers is dead, I know that. But that means one remains. Who is he?
After his fourth murder, he was arrested by the police. They actually picked him up on other charges. But, in any case, he is currently serving a life sentence in Fuji.
Fuchu prison?
Yes.
What's his name?
In prison, he doesn't have a name. He is simply called Number 89.
Number 89.
I know who killed Shogun Adami.
So, now you know why that the original Cyclops killer couldn't have committed these crimes. Because one is dead, and the other is behind bars. Neither of them had the opportunity.
This is your fault. I heard from the police because you did. My boy Ota.
Date, I looked into the Mayumi confirmed Ota's body early this morning.
I see.
I'm sorry. Did you not hear me? I said
Date, she is in no state.
Yeah. Mizuki must know about Iris and Ota.
Of course. The news was distributed heavily across the internet, not just in Japan, but 3 days ago, Mizuki discovered her mother's body. 2 days ago, her father. This morning, 2 of her best friends. It is completely understandable that she is at her mental limit.
Can I be left alone for a while?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Aiba, contact Abyss. See if they can get Mizuki a good counselor.
Understood.
Iris was my everything. We always went everywhere together, whether it was buying clothes or taking a walk. Or when she was young, she would just hold one of my fingers. Her hand was too small, then it was 2, then 3. And finally she could hold my hand. But eventually, she left my hands altogether. She started crossing her arms, being independent, even though she needed constant attention growing up. Her memories are a part of this room. When she was a baby, one day she tore up her picture book all over the floor here. Another time she drew with crayons she painted my portrait on Mother, scratches on the floor. Everything you see. But why?
Hey, Hitomi, my entire focus is on this case. Is there anything at all you can tell me?
I don't know if this is important.
No, please, tell me.
I may have told you this already. I met Renju's wife Shoko twice before. The first time at the wedding, the second time a month ago. That second time was in the waiting room of the prison.
Prison?
There's an acquaintance. I visit them a few times a year. And by coincidence, I don't think she noticed me, but I recognized her as Renju's wife right away. She was there for the same reason I was.
Do you know who?
No, I don't. We didn't talk.
Which prison?
Fuchu Prison. In Tokyo.
Fuchu.
Prison?
Oda was one of my students. I taught him in elementary school. I heard it from the police. Oda tried to help Iris and ended up... I don't know what to say. I have no words.
I'm sorry to have bothered you. I'll be going now.
I don't know what to do. Thinking about her. Dante, please, you have to catch them. Please. Please.
I will. Trust me.
Are you okay?
Huh?
About last night. Well, at 3 in the morning, anyway.
You know about it?
It's on every channel. You have the face of a ghost. Do you want a glass?
I don't need a drink. I need information. Do you have anything?
Well, let's see. I do have...
Tell me.
The Kumakuras are involved in this case. Remember what I told you before? That there's a relationship between Ren and the Kumakuras? Shoko also has a relationship with them. You know about her dealings with the Kumakuras.
So basically, 2 of the victims are linked to the Kumakuras. That must mean they're involved somehow, right?
Not 2. 3.
3? Iris?
No, not that one. He came here last night?
Ota?
Yes, from Matsushita Diner. He's linked to the Kumakuras. Have you heard the rumor? The Kumakuras own a handful of real estate companies. They of course look legit, but I'll call those real estate companies the KE. The KE followed. They bought up land in Kaba. Now, back to So. Have you heard of the plans for the casino in Kaba? So was the one who came up with it.
I was born and raised in Kawasaki. I remember the landscape of my childhood, and I loved it dearly. But look at Kawasaki now. When I see images of the destruction on television, my heart aches like it's being chopped. But I promise you, Casino Town Kawasaki.
After that, So moved fast. He submitted the bills he needed to the National Assembly after drumming up the bills passed, and it became an official.
Decontamination efforts therefore increased at a rapid pace in the Kawasaki. At the moment, the area is still considered off limits. However, the air in Kawasaki.
If the plan goes smoothly, land prices in Kawasaki are going to skyrocket, and all that land is owned by the KE, and by So himself. The land he bought back for $1 billion will be worth 10 times that soon.
He's involved in some shady...
This is just another rumor, but the chemical plant exploding was no accident. It was done intentionally.
By So and the Kumakuras, you mean?
But there's no hard evidence of that. It's just gossip. What were we talking about again?
Ota and the Kumakuras.
Oh, right. You know how Matsushita Diner is close to the Kawasaki district? The chemical plant explosion made times hard. Foot traffic went down. No wonder it closed down. Ota must hold a grudge. Someone caused that explosion. And if it was intentional, oh, he'd hate them even more. That's how I link Ota to the Kumakuras.
Thank you. I don't know if what you told me will lead to anything, but...
Oh, sorry.
No, it was very helpful.
I'm glad I can help, even if it's just a little.
Well then.
Come back any...
Where did she go?
Well, she isn't always.
True. What are you doing?
I thought it would be easier to talk like this.
What do we have to talk about?
A summary of the investigation.
What summary?
That's not true.
Huh?
I was curious, so I did some research about number 8. Unknown. I cannot determine if approximately 1 month ago, Hitomi. I am unable to say for certain. After all,
But number 89 knew Shoko's name.
I know who killed Shogun.
That must mean that he knew her somehow.
It is possible. Unknown.
You don't know?
No such person is. It is possible he is a foreigner. However, I believe. As you know, he is currently serving. He was imprisoned 6 years.
That's what Pewter told.
After his 4th murder, he was arrested by the police.
computer claims that there were two culprits behind. One was the former chairman of the Kumakura.
But Rohan committed suicide.
That leaves one.
But number 89 couldn't possibly have. He was in jail when each of the murders occurred.
Correct. However, I do not believe it is accurate to claim that he had nothing to do.
I know who killed
If he was telling the truth.
Let's talk to number 89.
All right. However, we need not go to him. We can bring him to us. If we plan on syncing with him, it would be.
Can you arrange that?
I can.
Sorry to interrupt your busy day, but I need you to tell me something. I'd appreciate your cooperation.
That's right. I was one of the culprits behind the case. One of the two Cyclops killers. Number 80.
Your real name.
I don't remember. Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso is a republic in.
I don't have time for your jokes.
Yeah, I guess.
About a month ago, was she there to see you?
That's right.
What did you talk about?
Nothing special.
You're in no position to...
I'm not lying. She didn't come to hear me talk.
Then why did she come?
To meet me.
Meet you?
She probably just wanted to see me. A long time ago. I don't remember exactly when.
What's your relationship to her?
A physical one. I'm kidding. She was just a business partner.
All right. Let's get right down to it. 2 days ago, you called... I know who killed...
That's right.
Who?
Hey, don't be so hasty. We haven't agreed on a deal. You're gonna let me out of prison, right?
It's done. You've got...
All right. But to explain it properly, I need to tell you a story. It might take some time.
I've got nothing but time.
Then let's get started. The story of a lonely assassin. Once upon a time, there was a detective, full of righteous justice. Let's call him F. F found the evils of the world intolerable. F had no parents, no siblings, and grew up in an orphanage since he suffered every kind of abuse and it led him to despise all the evils of the world. One day, F was chasing a thug down at the harbor. Someone wanted for the assault and murder of women.
Okay, I get it. I'll just throw down my knife. Here. And you lower your gun. It's fine. I got nothing else on me. I'll go quietly. You know, I have a history with hospitals. I've been going to a special hospital for a while. Even if I get caught, I'll come right back out again. What should I do next time? Just thinking about it gets me excited.
The culprit was unarmed, but F never served a day in prison. The case went to trial for some time, but it was determined to be self-defense, and he was declared innocent. If the truth got out, it would be a huge scandal for the police. People at the upper level were terrified of what might happen. F wasn't suspended or disciplined at all. After a while, he returned to his job. That was a turning point for him. He was ready to shed the morality that was... F still wanted justice, and he was willing to... He became an assassin, a lone gunman. No agent, no employee. He was his own man. F believed that he was but it didn't last long. One day, F got rid of a criminal. X was responsible for defrauding and killing an innocent old man. Turns out, X had connections. Rohan Kumakura, chairman of the Kumakuras. X was a top executive of the Kumakuras. Rohan ordered his men to find and kidnap F.
I've done some research. I know you've cleaned up at least 18 pieces of scum from this earth, but somehow there hasn't been a single criminal investigation. They're all treated as suicides, accidents. Amazing work. How about you work for us? Of course, you have the right to say no, but it'll be the last word out of your mouth.
F was trapped. Even if he somehow survived, he would be looking over his shoulder for the rest of his life. He had no choice but to take Rohan. Thus, F's self-employment came to an end. He became a hired gun of the Kumakuras. Rohan even gave him a code name, Falco, named for the Falcon. Falco didn't quit his job as a police officer. He worked as a detective by day, assassin by night. An ordinary killer would need motive to take a lot, not Falco. He did as he... It didn't take long to destroy it. Time passed, and a few years back, Falco, who by this time was exhausted and he missed his mark and somehow he managed to escape. After reaching a nearby shrine, his legs finally gave out. He had no strength. He put his back up against the shrine, but at that moment, in his darkening vision, he saw a woman approach. He watched her take out her phone. At the same time, he heard footsteps. Footsteps of at least 2 people closing in. He knew immediately that they were after him. He sprung into action, grabbing the woman and pulling her close, kissing her to... That was the first encounter between Falco and the woman. She was a teacher at some school. It was like she was from a totally different world than him. Listening to her talk, he would forget everything about his life. She was his only contact with the ordinary, mundane world. They met in secret a few more times, and Falco felt his heart grow warmer. Her smile and kindness were like a cold glass of water for Falco started to become himself again. He swore on his life that from then on, he would live for her.
So, you want to go clean? Fine. You've done a lot for us. But there is one final job I want you to do. It's nothing major. This woman and her daughter. Should be simple, no?
Rohan handed Falco a picture of a woman. It was the teacher, Falco, and her daughter. Why the 2 of them? Rohan, as you and Falco had no intention of... But if he didn't, he knew that someone else would. He thought long and hard. How was he going to keep them safe? And he couldn't find an answer. No matter how hard, he was backed into a corner. So, and then...
Was that the whole story? You mentioned a detective. What's the connection between that and Shoko? Why did you stop? Hey, answer.
This is a transaction, remember? Until I get a guarantee that you'll uphold your... I'll give you half up front, half later. If you want to hear the rest of my story, you better start the release once they've cleared.
Date, it is unlikely that number 89 will uphold his promise, even upon release.
Pewter,
Yes?
start the preparations.
For what?
What do you think? The sink.
I have injected number 89 with the usual dosage. He will not be waking up anytime soon. Are you ready, Agent Date?
Yeah,
The time limit is 6 minutes.
I know.
Then let's begin.
Sup?
No, not...